Hey Taurus, I need to share something with you today that honestly gave me chills when these cards came through. You know how sometimes the universe just shows up with a message that is so clear, so undeniable, that you cannot look away? That is exactly what happened when I sat down to do this reading for you. Before we dive into these cards, I want you to take a breath with me for a second. Because what I am about to share with you is not just about someone else's karma catching up to them. This is about you finally understanding the full scope of what has been happening behind the scenes. This is about divine justice unfolding in ways that might actually shock you, even though part of you knew this day would come. There is someone in your orbit, Taurus, someone who thought they could mess with your life, your peace, your energy, and walk away unscathed. Someone who believed they were untouchable, that their actions would not catch up to them. And right now, as I am shuffling these cards, the energy coming through is intense. This person is experiencing something they never saw coming. They are dealing with consequences so profound that even they are starting to wonder if this is some kind of divine punishment. What makes this even more powerful is that you did not have to lift a finger. You did not have to plot revenge or wish them harm. You simply walked away, elevated yourself, and let the universe do what it does best, which is balance the scales. And Taurus, those scales are balancing in a way that is leaving this person absolutely shattered. I want to be really honest with you about something before we get into these cards. When I first pulled them, I had to sit with the energy for a moment because it was so heavy. Not heavy in a way that affects you negatively, but heavy in the sense that what this person is going through is catastrophic. Their world is falling apart piece by piece, and they know exactly why. They know it is because of how they treated you, what they did to you, what they tried to take from you. So let's get into these cards, and I am telling you right now, each one of these is going to reveal a layer of this situation that you might not have fully realized. This reading is not just about their downfall. It is about your liberation, your vindication, and your confirmation that you were right to trust your intuition and protect your peace. All right, Taurus, the first card that came through absolutely knocked me back in my chair. And I have to tell you, when this card appears in a reading about someone facing karma, it is one of the most devastating confirmations you can receive. I pulled the Nine of Swords, and if you know anything about tarot, you know this card represents pure mental torment. This is the card of sleepless nights, anxiety that consumes you, nightmares that feel too real, and thoughts that will not stop spinning no matter what you do. This person is in absolute psychological agony right now, Taurus. And here is what makes this so significant in terms of karma. The Nine of Swords is not about external circumstances destroying someone. This is about internal hell. This is about a person being tortured by their own mind, their own guilt, their own realization of what they have done. They cannot escape themselves. Every time they close their eyes, they see your face. Every time they try to sleep, their conscience wakes them up. Every quiet moment is filled with the weight of their actions toward you. What I am picking up from this energy is that this person is experiencing deep regret, but not the kind that leads to genuine change. This is the regret that comes from facing consequences, not from true remorse. They are sorry they got caught, sorry their life is falling apart, sorry they are suffering, but they still have not fully taken responsibility for the pain they caused you. And that is exactly why the universe is not letting up on them. The Nine of Swords often appears when someone is being haunted by what they have done. And Taurus, this person is haunted. They cannot function properly anymore because their mind keeps replaying every moment they wronged you. They thought they could compartmentalize, thought they could justify their actions, thought they could convince themselves that what they did to you was not that bad. But now they are being forced to confront the truth in the most uncomfortable way possible, which is through their own thoughts in the darkest hours of the night when there is nowhere to hide. I want you to really sit with this for a moment because this is significant. You might have wondered if this person ever thinks about you, if they ever feel bad about what they did, if karma is real. The Nine of Swords is screaming yes to all of that. Not only do they think about you, they cannot stop thinking about you. You live rent-free in their mind, but not in a romantic or longing way. You are there as a constant reminder of their failures, their cruelty, their mistakes. You represent everything they wish they could take back but cannot. What is even more powerful about this card is the isolation it represents. When you look at traditional Nine of Swords imagery, you see a person sitting up in bed, hands covering their face, completely alone in their suffering. That is exactly what is happening here. This person has no one to turn to because everyone is starting to see them for who they really are. The mask has fallen, Taurus. The facade they maintained is crumbling, and people are backing away from them because nobody wants to be associated with someone whose karma is manifesting this visibly. Here is something else the Nine of Swords is showing me about this situation. This person is dealing with anxiety about the future that borders on paranoia. They keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. They keep expecting more bad things to happen because on some level, they know they deserve it. They know the universe is not done with them yet. Every day they wake up wondering what fresh hell is coming their way, and that constant state of dread is exhausting them mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The energy around this card is also telling me that this person has tried to distract themselves from these feelings. They have tried to stay busy, tried to convince themselves they are fine, tried to project confidence to the outside world. But the Nine of Swords does not care about your daytime persona. This card is about what happens when you are alone with yourself, when all the distractions fall away and you are forced to face who you really are and what you have really done. And in those moments, this person is breaking down. I am also getting that this person might be experiencing physical symptoms from all this mental anguish. Headaches, exhaustion, inability to focus, maybe even panic attacks. The Nine of Swords reminds us that mental torture manifests in the physical body. You cannot be in a constant state of anxiety and guilt without it taking a toll on your health. And that is exactly what is happening. Their body is showing the signs of someone who is under severe psychological stress. What I find particularly fitting about this card appearing first is that it sets the tone for everything else we are going to see. This person is not just experiencing external consequences, they are experiencing internal destruction. And honestly, Taurus, that is the most profound kind of karma because you cannot run from yourself. You can leave a situation, you can block people, you can move to a different city, but you cannot escape your own mind. And right now, their mind is their worst enemy. The next card that came through is one I was not expecting, but the moment I saw it, everything clicked into place. I pulled the Nine of Pentacles, and I need you to understand something crucial about why this card is appearing in this position, in this reading. The Nine of Pentacles traditionally represents independence, self-sufficiency, luxury, abundance, and someone who has built a beautiful life through their own efforts. So you might be wondering, why is this appearing in a reading about someone suffering from karma? Here is what the universe is showing me, Taurus. The Nine of Pentacles is appearing as a mirror, as a comparison, as a brutal reminder to this person of what they lost when they lost you. While they are drowning in the Nine of Swords energy we just talked about, while they are isolated and suffering, you are embodying the Nine of Pentacles energy. You are thriving, growing, building something beautiful for yourself. You are independent, self-sufficient, and creating abundance without them. This card is telling me that part of their suffering comes from watching you succeed without them. Part of their torture is seeing you not just survive their absence, but actually flourish because of it. They thought you would fall apart. They thought you needed them. They thought removing themselves from your life or treating you poorly would somehow diminish you. Instead, you bloomed. You became the Nine of Pentacles personified, and they are having to witness that while their own life crumbles. The energy here is so poetic, it almost feels scripted by the universe itself. The Nine of Pentacles often shows a woman in a garden she has cultivated herself, surrounded by beauty, holding a bird of prey on her hand, symbolizing mastery and control. That is you right now, Taurus. You have taken control of your life. You have cultivated your own garden. You have created beauty and abundance on your terms. Meanwhile, this person is stuck in the nightmare of the Nine of Swords, unable to even sleep properly, let alone build anything meaningful. What makes this even more significant is that the Nine of Pentacles represents someone who has learned to enjoy their own company, who has found peace in solitude, who does not need anyone else to feel complete. And that realization is killing this person. They are watching you embody everything they wish they had. They are seeing you find happiness alone, peace alone, success alone, and it is destroying them because they thought you could not do it. They underestimated you so profoundly, and now they are paying the price of that arrogance. I am also picking up that this person might be experiencing financial or material losses right now, which is another layer of why the Nine of Pentacles appeared. While you are building stability and abundance, they are losing it. Resources are drying up for them. Opportunities are disappearing. Things they thought were secure are falling apart. The contrast between your rising and their falling is so stark that even people around them are noticing. And you know what? That makes their karma even more public, even more humiliating. The Nine of Pentacles is also about dignity and grace, two things this person is severely lacking right now. You walked away from this situation with your head held high. You did not beg, did not chase, did not lower yourself. You maintained your dignity even when they tried to strip it from you. And now? Now you are reaping the rewards of that self-respect. You are living proof that when you refuse to compromise your standards, the universe rewards you. Meanwhile, this person compromised everything: integrity, honesty, decency, and they are discovering that the universe does not reward that. Here is something else that is coming through with this card. The Nine of Pentacles represents delayed gratification, patience, long-term planning. You put in the work, Taurus. You did the healing. You invested in yourself. You did not take shortcuts or try to bypass the growth process. And now you are seeing the fruits of that labor. This person took shortcuts. They lied. They manipulated. They tried to get what they wanted through deception instead of effort. And shortcuts do not lead to the Nine of Pentacles. Shortcuts lead to the Nine of Swords and everything that comes with it. The birds in the Nine of Pentacles are also significant here. Birds represent freedom, perspective, the ability to rise above. You have that freedom now. You can see the situation clearly from above. You understand what happened, why it happened, and you have moved beyond it. This person is trapped in the weeds, unable to gain any perspective, unable to see beyond their immediate suffering. They are earthbound while you are soaring, and that difference in elevation is part of what is tormenting them. What I love about the Nine of Pentacles energy is that it is not loud or flashy. It is quiet confidence. It is understated elegance. It is the kind of success that speaks for itself. You do not need to broadcast your wins or prove anything to anyone. Your life is becoming the evidence. And for someone who is watching from the hell of the Nine of Swords, that quiet, undeniable success is more devastating than any revenge you could have plotted. You are living well. And that truly is the best response to those who tried to bring you down. Now, Taurus, the third card came through with such specific energy that I actually had to pause and really tune into what it was saying. I pulled the Hierophant, and at first you might think this is a strange card to appear in a reading about karma and consequences. The Hierophant traditionally represents tradition, institutions, conventional wisdom, spiritual authority, and established systems. So what is it doing here? Let me tell you what I am picking up, and this is where the story gets even more intense. The Hierophant appearing in this position is telling me that this person's downfall is happening within established structures and systems. This is not just personal karma playing out in private. This is public karma. This is karma that is manifesting through institutions, through communities, through formal structures where reputation matters. What I am seeing is that this person is being judged, not just by you or by the universe in some abstract sense, but by actual people, actual communities, actual systems they are part of. The Hierophant represents collective values and moral standards, and this person is being measured against those standards and found severely lacking. They are being called out, called in, or called to account by groups, organizations, or communities that matter to them. This could manifest in so many ways depending on your specific situation. If this person is in a professional setting, they might be facing consequences at work, disciplinary action, loss of reputation among colleagues. If this involves family, the family structure itself might be turning against them, recognizing that they are the problem. If this is about social circles, their friends are starting to see through the lies and stepping back. The Hierophant is about established order, and established order is now working against this person instead of for them. What makes the Hierophant particularly powerful in this context is that it represents authority figures and people whose opinions carry weight. This is not just random people gossiping. This is people with influence, people with standing, people whose judgment actually matters. And those people are seeing this person for who they really are. When the Hierophant shows up in this way, it is telling me that respected voices are speaking up about what this person has done, and that is devastating to their image. I am also getting a strong sense that this person might be facing some kind of formal process or official reckoning. The Hierophant rules legal systems, HR departments, religious institutions, any kind of formal body that evaluates behavior and enforces consequences. There might be an actual investigation, an actual review, an actual formal acknowledgement of their wrongdoing, and that makes their karma undeniable. They cannot spin it, cannot reframe it, cannot talk their way out of it when institutions are involved. Here is what is really fascinating about the Hierophant appearing after the Nine of Swords and Nine of Pentacles. First, we see their internal torture through the Nine of Swords. Then we see the contrast between their loss and your gain through the Nine of Pentacles. Now with the Hierophant, we are seeing the external validation of everything. Society itself, community itself, established structures themselves are confirming that yes, this person did wrong. Yes, they are facing appropriate consequences. Yes, karma is real and visible. The Hierophant also represents teachers and lessons, and right now this person is learning the hardest lesson of their life. They are learning that actions have consequences, that you cannot treat people poorly and expect to maintain your standing in community. That reputation once lost is incredibly difficult to regain. These are lessons the Hierophant teaches, but they are not gentle lessons when you have violated the trust and moral codes that the Hierophant represents. What I find particularly fitting is that the Hierophant is associated with Taurus in traditional astrology. This is your card, Taurus. This is your sign's ruling energy in the major arcana. So the Hierophant appearing here feels like the universe saying that your values, your integrity, your moral standing is being vindicated by the very systems and structures that this person thought would protect them. Instead, those systems are protecting you and holding them accountable. The Hierophant is also about conformity and following the rules. And here is where their karma gets even more pointed. This person probably broke unspoken rules, violated trust, stepped outside the bounds of acceptable behavior while expecting to maintain their position within the system. But the Hierophant does not work that way. You cannot violate the principles and still claim the privileges. You cannot break the code and still expect to be welcomed. And this person is discovering that truth in the most painful way possible. I am also sensing that this person might be seeking guidance, seeking answers, trying to find someone who can help them make sense of what is happening to them. They might be turning to authority figures, spiritual leaders, counselors, trying to get someone to tell them how to fix this. But here's the thing about the Hierophant energy. Sometimes the answer you get is that you have to face the full weight of what you have done. Sometimes there is no shortcut through the lesson. Sometimes the only way out is through complete accountability, and that is a bitter pill for this person to swallow. The fourth card honestly made me sit back and just absorb the energy for a good few minutes because, wow, the universe is not subtle in this reading. I pulled the Hanged Man, and if you understand tarot deeply, you know this is one of the most profound cards about suspension, sacrifice, being stuck, and seeing things from a completely inverted perspective. When the Hanged Man appears in a reading about someone facing karma, it is telling me that this person is in a state of complete suspension. They are frozen, unable to move forward, unable to go back, just hanging there in limbo, while the consequences of their actions play out around them. The Hanged Man is such a powerful image because traditionally it shows someone suspended upside down, unable to escape, forced to see the world from an entirely new angle. And that is exactly what this person is experiencing right now, Taurus. They are stuck in a position where they have to witness everything they have lost, everything they destroyed, from a perspective they never imagined they would have. They are forced to see clearly now what they were blind to before. What I am picking up from this energy is that this person cannot move on. They desperately want to leave this situation behind and start fresh somewhere else, but the universe is holding them in place. They have to sit with what they did. They have to marinate in the consequences. They have to watch you thrive while they remain suspended in their suffering. The Hanged Man does not let you escape the lesson until you have truly, deeply learned it. There is also a sense of sacrifice here, but not the noble kind. The Hanged Man often represents sacrifice, but in this case, they have sacrificed everything they valued for temporary satisfaction or ego gratification. They sacrificed your trust for a moment of feeling powerful. They sacrificed their reputation for a brief sense of control. They sacrificed stable relationships for whatever they thought they were gaining by treating you poorly. And now they are hanging there, realizing the sacrifice was not worth it. The Hanged Man is also about martyrdom, and I am sensing that this person might be trying to paint themselves as a victim in all of this. They might be trying to get sympathy from others, trying to act like they are the ones who are suffering unjustly, trying to reframe the narrative so they come out looking like the martyr instead of the perpetrator. But here is what the Hanged Man is showing me. Nobody is buying it. People can see through that performance. The suspension they are in is not martyrdom, it is accountability. What makes this card particularly powerful after the Hierophant is that we go from external judgment to internal paralysis. First, society and community held them accountable. Now they are stuck in that accountability, unable to escape it, unable to move past it. The Hanged Man says, you cannot run from this. You cannot bypass this phase. You have to hang here until the universe decides you have learned what you need to learn. I am also getting a strong message about perspective shifts. The Hanged Man forces you to see things differently because you are literally upside down. This person is starting to understand, maybe for the first time, how their actions affected you. They are starting to see the situation from your perspective, and it is deeply uncomfortable for them. They spent so long justifying their behavior to themselves, convincing themselves that what they did was not that bad or that you somehow deserved it. But the Hanged Man does not allow those delusions to continue. They are seeing clearly now, and that clarity is agonizing. The Hanged Man is also associated with the planet Neptune, which rules illusions, delusions, and fog. Before this karmic reckoning, this person was living in a Neptunian fog of their own creation. They could not see clearly, did not want to see clearly, preferred the comfort of their delusions. But the Hanged Man represents the moment when that fog clears and you are forced to see reality exactly as it is. No filters, no justifications, no excuses, just raw, uncomfortable truth. Here is something else coming through with the Hanged Man energy. This card often appears when someone is waiting for something that is not coming. This person might be waiting for your forgiveness, waiting for you to reach out, waiting for things to go back to how they were, waiting for an opportunity to make things right. But the Hanged Man is showing me that what they are waiting for is never coming. You have moved on. You are living your Nine of Pentacles life. You are not looking back. And they are suspended in that waiting, that hoping, that false belief that somehow this can be undone. The Hanged Man also represents surrender, but not the peaceful kind. This is forced surrender. This person has no choice but to surrender to the consequences of their actions. They cannot fight their way out of this. They cannot manipulate their way out of this. They cannot charm or convince or negotiate their way out of this. All they can do is hang there and accept that this is what their choices have created. What I find particularly meaningful about the Hanged Man in this sequence of cards is that it shows the progression of their karma. First, mental torment. Then, watching you succeed while they fail. Then, public judgment and institutional consequences. And now, complete suspension, in that state with no way out, no way forward, just stuck in the full weight of what they have created. The universe is making sure they feel every moment of this. All right, Taurus, we are getting close to the end of this reading, and I have to tell you, the fifth card that came through just confirmed everything we have been seeing and took it even deeper. I pulled the Eight of Cups, and when this card appears in a reading about someone facing karma, it is one of the most telling signs of total abandonment and walking away. But here's the twist. This is not about you walking away from them. Although you already did that, this is about everyone else walking away from them now. The Eight of Cups shows a figure turning their back on 8 perfectly stacked cups and walking away toward the mountains, toward higher ground, toward something more meaningful. Those cups represent emotional investments, relationships, connections, things that once seemed valuable. And in this person's situation, those cups represent all the relationships and connections they thought they had, all the people they thought would stand by them. And one by one, those people are walking away. This is the karma of isolation, Taurus. This person is being left behind by everyone who mattered to them. Friends are distancing themselves, family members are pulling back, allies are disappearing. People who once supported them are realizing that association with this person is toxic, is damaging to their own reputation, is not worth the cost. And so they are doing exactly what the Eight of Cups represents. They are walking away toward higher ground. What makes this particularly devastating is that the Eight of Cups is not about dramatic exits or angry confrontations. This is about quiet departures. This is about people who just stop calling, stop showing up, stop being available. This is the slow, steady abandonment that happens when people lose respect for you. They do not owe you an explanation. They do not owe you a big goodbye. They just turn their backs and walk towards something better, something healthier, something that does not drain them the way this person drains them. I am getting a very strong message that this person is feeling the full weight of this abandonment right now. Remember the Nine of Swords we talked about at the beginning? Part of that mental torment is coming from this realization that they are truly alone. Part of those sleepless nights is them replaying all the moments when people started pulling away, all the signs that their social circle was shrinking, all the evidence that they have burned every bridge. The Eight of Cups is also about the search for deeper meaning, and in a twisted way, this person might be forced into that search now. When you lose everything and everyone, when you are left completely alone with yourself, you have no choice but to start asking the big questions. Why did this happen? What did I do? Who have I become? The Eight of Cups suggests that this forced solitude might eventually lead to some kind of spiritual reckoning, but right now they are in the painful early stages where it just feels like abandonment without any redemptive quality yet. Here is what is particularly powerful about the Eight of Cups appearing after the Hanged Man. First, they were suspended, stuck, unable to move. Now, everyone else is moving, but they are moving away from this person. The paralysis of the Hanged Man is contrasted with the decisive action of the Eight of Cups, but that action is happening around them, not with them. They are being left behind while everyone else walks toward better situations, better energy, better lives. I am also sensing that this person might have tried to reach out to people recently, tried to reconnect, tried to explain themselves or justify their actions. But the Eight of Cups energy suggests those attempts were met with silence or rejection. People are not interested in hearing excuses. People are not interested in being pulled back into drama. People have made their choice to walk away, and that choice is final. The Eight of Cups does not look back once the decision is made. The Eight of Cups is also associated with disillusionment, and I am picking up that this person is deeply disillusioned right now. They thought loyalty meant something different. They thought people would stick around no matter what. They thought their charm or their explanations or their version of events would be enough to maintain connections. But they are learning a harsh lesson about conditional relationships. When you show people who you really are, when you reveal your true character, when you demonstrate that you are willing to hurt others for your own benefit, people walk away, not because they are disloyal, but because they are wise. What I find particularly fitting about this card is the imagery of walking toward the mountains, toward higher ground. Everyone who is leaving this person is elevating. They are choosing growth over toxicity. They are choosing peace over drama. They are choosing self-respect over enabling someone who refuses to take responsibility. And that elevation, that choice of higher ground, is exactly what you did first, Taurus. You led the way. You showed everyone else that it is possible to walk away, that it is necessary to walk away, that there is life and beauty and peace on the other side of that decision. The Eight of Cups appearing in this reading is also confirmation that this person has nothing left. No support system, no one to turn to, no one to help them pick up the pieces. They are truly alone with the consequences of their actions. And that aloneness is part of the divine punishment they are experiencing. They thought they could treat you poorly and still maintain everything else. They thought your absence would not matter that much. But your absence was just the first cup to be abandoned. Now all the other cups are being abandoned too, and they are left with nothing. Okay, Taurus, we have arrived at the final card in this reading, and I am not going to lie. When I pulled this card, everything just locked into place with such clarity that I actually got emotional. The sixth and final card is the World, and before you think this means a happy ending for this person, let me explain what the World is showing up to say in this context, in this reading about karma and consequences. The World is the final card of the major arcana, representing completion, endings, full cycles coming to a close. And that is exactly what this card is confirming. This person's karma cycle is complete. What they put out into the universe has fully circled back to them. The debt is paid, the lesson is delivered, the consequences are done manifesting, and they are left standing in the ruins of everything they destroyed, forced to acknowledge that this is the world they created. But here is where the World gets really interesting in this position. The World is also about recognition, visibility, being seen by everyone. And right now, this person's downfall is visible. Their karma is not hidden or private. It is on display. Everyone can see what happened to them. Everyone can see the consequences of their actions. Everyone can see that the universe does not play when it comes to balance and justice. The World is showing me that this person has become an example, a cautionary tale, a living demonstration of what happens when you treat people with cruelty and disrespect. The World card often shows a figure dancing in a wreath, surrounded by the four elements, representing mastery and completion. But in this person's case, they are surrounded by the completed destruction of their own making. Every element of their life has been touched by karma. Emotional destruction, Nine of Cups, abandonment. Mental destruction, Nine of Swords, torment. Social and community destruction, the Hierophant, judgment. Complete paralysis and inability to move forward, the Hanged Man, suspension. And now the World, showing that this cycle is finished. What I am picking up from the World in this context is also a sense of finality that is absolutely crushing for this person. They might have been holding on to hope that things would turn around, that karma would ease up, that they would catch a break. But the World is the universe saying, no, this is IT. This is the final state. This is what you created. This is your world now. Live in it. The World is also about cosmic justice on the largest scale. This is not just personal karma. This is universal law playing out. What you give is what you get, magnified and returned to you in perfect proportion to your actions. This person gave cruelty, they received isolation, they gave deception, they received exposure, they gave pain, they received suffering. The World represents that perfect, complete, undeniable return of energy. Here is something else the World is showing me. This card represents everyone seeing, everyone knowing. The World is the card of public recognition, and in this case, it is public recognition of this person's true nature. Whatever they were hiding, whatever masks they were wearing, whatever lies they were telling, all of that has been stripped away. The World sees them clearly now, and they cannot hide from that level of exposure. The World is also about achievement and reaching the end of a journey. But for this person, the journey they have completed is the journey to rock bottom. They have achieved total loss. They have reached the completion of their own undoing. And there is something almost poetic about the World appearing as the final card because it confirms that there is nowhere left to fall. They are at the end. This is as bad as it gets. The karma has fully manifested. For you, Taurus, the world in this position is incredibly validating. It is the universe telling you that the cycle is complete. You do not need to wonder if more karma is coming for this person. You do not need to wait for additional consequences to manifest. It is done. The world has delivered its judgment, and that judgment is final. You can close this chapter completely, knowing that justice has been served on the highest cosmic level possible. The world also represents liberation and freedom, and that is your message in this card. While this person is trapped in the completed cycle of their own karma, you are free. You are liberated from this situation. You are free to move forward into new cycles, new beginnings, new worlds of your own creation. The world that they destroyed for themselves is the world that you get to build fresh and new. What I love about the world being the final card is that it represents the universe itself bearing witness. Not just you, not just a few people who know the situation, but the universe itself has seen what happened, has measured the actions, has delivered the consequences, and has closed the book on this chapter. There is something deeply satisfying about that level of cosmic completion. The world in tarot is also about integration and understanding, and here is what I am picking up about that. This person is being forced to integrate and understand the full scope of what they did and who they have become. They cannot compartmentalize anymore. They cannot separate their actions from their consequences. They cannot pretend one part of their life is fine while another part is falling apart. The world brings everything together into one complete picture, and they have to look at that picture and accept it as their own creation. So Taurus, as we close out this reading, I want you to really absorb the full arc of what these 6 cards have shown us. This person started in mental torment, watching you succeed while they failed, facing public judgment, becoming completely stuck and suspended, being abandoned by everyone, and finally standing in the completed ruins of their own karmic consequences with the entire universe as a witness. This is divine justice in its most complete form. This is what happens when you harm someone who is protected by the universe. This is what happens when you underestimate the power of karma. This is what happens when you think you can get away with cruelty. And for you, Taurus, this reading is your confirmation that you were right to walk away, right to protect your peace, right to trust that the universe would handle what you could not. You did not need to seek revenge. You did not need to plot their downfall. You just needed to step back and let cosmic law do what it does naturally, which is balance the scales. I hope this reading brought you the closure and validation you needed. Drop a comment below if these cards resonated with you, if you have seen any of this karma manifesting in your situation. And remember, your job now is not to focus on their destruction, but to keep building your 9 of Pentacles life, to keep embodying the world energy of completion and new beginnings. Thanks for being here, Taurus. Until next time, trust the universe, trust yourself, and know that karma is always working in the background.